Good afternoon, guys. Welcome to the very first Inside Edge Network Cleveland Browns pregame show brought to you by LPV Productions. I'm Chad Bryan. I've got my buddy Ryan Mossor with me. Ryan, say hello.
How you doing, buddy?
I'm
Excited.
doing good. Are you ready for some Browns football today?
I'm ready for some football in general, but definitely some Browns football.
Man, right? It's week one for the Browns. It's week one for us here. Inside Edge. We're a brand new media company. We're just we're just excited to be here with you and to bring you all the Cleveland Browns coverage you could possibly stand. Man, hopefully we don't get tired of watching the Browns. But here we go, man. We're gonna talk about some. We got to start off with some realism, okay?
Let's do it.
It's a season opener for the Browns. We know what that means. Listen, this is the expansion Browns, right? This isn't the 60s, multiple NFL championship Browns. This is the 1999 on Browns, right?
Yep.
That means, unfortunately, with the season opener comes a little bit of ineptitude. The Browns are 3-22-1 in season openers since they came back in 1999. It's a winning percentage of about 135. That's not good, Ryan.
That's not good. That's embarrassing, to be honest. So
it's a little embarrassing. But lately, under Kevin Stefanski, they've gotten it figured out. I mean, they've won a couple here. They've been at least competitive. 2022 and 2023, won two in a row, beat Carolina and beat Cincinnati, the Bengals. That's what we have today. We got the Bengals today. But with playing the Bengals come certain concerns. But I think. I don't know. We'll get into picks later on, but I guess the first thing I want to ask you is it's a winnable game, right? I mean, the Bengals don't have really much of a defense to speak of. I hate to say it that way, but can the Browns execute? That's my first question to you. Can the Browns execute? What do we really expect? I think the first and the main thing to talk about is what we can expect from a Browns running game that feels like it's a little bit in flux. We've got Nick Chubb out. Obviously didn't get much from him last year, coming back from a horrific knee injury, is the second of his football career. Man, it's just sad to see how that's gone down for him.
Very shame.
Yeah, it's rough, man. But right now we've got Quinshon Judkins on the way, signed yesterday to a 4-year, $11+ million fully guaranteed deal.
Yep.
Some of the off the field stuff is now, we're hoping behind him. He's out today. He's not going to play today. Not quite yet, but we've got. I guess we've got Jerome Ford and Dylan Sampson. Ryan, what can we expect from those two guys today?
I mean, obviously it's going to be a running back by committee. Ford, we've seen what we got from him. We know what kind of player he is. He's averaging 537 yards per season, about less than 32 yards per game. I mean, last year he played 14 games. The year before he played 17 games. So we have a decent sample of him. I like Dylan Sampson. I liked him coming out of the draft. I'm a big draft guy. Obviously, Quinshon Judkins I have rated higher than him. Like you said, he's not playing, so right now he's kind of irrelevant. I like Sampson. Sampson was an all-SEC player. He was SEC Player of the Year. He's a rookie against a very bad defense. They have, I would say 2 good players on that defense, and Trey Hendrickson and Logan Wilson, the linebacker. Other than that, it's up for grabs. I would expect – I don't know. I would expect just them to share the ball, and I would probably expect Sampson to lead the backfield this week. But it'll be pretty close. They'll probably get a fair share.
Yeah, I mean they're going to have to be able to run the ball. You've got the Bengals, for all their defensive struggles, they actually have a pretty competent pass rush. And I think you have to be able to run the ball. Kevin Stefanski's offense, it's predicated upon the play action pass. I mean, we've talked about it. I've talked about it on pretty much every show I've talked about the Browns on. You've got to be able to run the ball, right? For Stefanski's offense to really work, especially with a 40-year-old quarterback. I mean, Joe Flacco's going to be 41 in January. Listen, I'm 46. I don't like to call myself old. I'm not calling Joe Flacco old. He's younger than me. But by NFL standards, listen, Flacco's his better years are probably behind him at this point, right? At least physically. Right. And with the ability to stay healthy, I think that's the concern. And you're going to have to be able to run the football, to keep him on his feet, to keep him in the pocket, and to keep him on the field, ultimately. But I want to ask you, we talked about Quinshon Judkins. We talked about the signing. The Browns had a choice between two. I don't want to talk about the whole running back field at all.
Sure.
But they had a choice between 2 Ohio State guys, Travion Henderson and Quinshon Judkins. In your mind, did the Browns make the right choice when they drafted Judkins? Or, I mean, you look at what Henderson's doing with the Patriots. There's no off-the-field concerns. The kickoff return for a touchdown. He's a great blocker. I mean, we saw that at Ohio State.
Best in the draft this year.
Didn't fumble one time in his entire college career. Do Do you think? I mean, I don't mean to put Judkins under the microscope, early on before he's even really on the roster and on this team. But I mean, how do you feel about Henderson versus Judkins? I mean, did the Browns make the right choice there?
Yeah. So incident aside, just going by the players during the draft, I was very vocal. I wanted Travion Henderson. I love Quinshon Judkins. I thought he's a great complimentary back to Henderson. But for me, I love backs that can catch the ball out of the backfield, and Henderson can catch like a receiver, and he's gone. He's one of those dudes.
We saw that against Texas. Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That screen and for a touchdown.
Yep.
And with the same, I mean, Judkins reminds me a lot of Nick Chubb. I feel like that's why they chose Judkins, because they're used to that type of player. He'll fit the system, and other players are used to playing with that type of player around them. For them, I'm sure that it was really close, but personally, I would have picked Henderson. Now that Judkins is on our team, I mean, I'm happy he's here. I think he's going to do great in our system. I think he fits perfectly. It's just now catching him up. He missed all of the offseason, which could be detrimental. It could be awful for a rookie. And hopefully he can just catch on. Hopefully he stayed in shape. And, with the allegations, I don't know where his head was mentally, but hopefully he's just ready to go and he can be plugged in a week or two, and, we can start with his career. So.
Yeah, like you said, I think I think I prefer to kind of stay away from the off the field stuff. I don't want to get into that, necessarily to break it down or whatever. We don't need to, you and I don't. We weren't there. We don't know.
Everyone knows, yeah.
Right. But I think, like you said, Judkins, he's a guy who's had, here's a guy. It's not Chris Collinsworth. Here's a guy. But he had success, in the SEC at Ole Miss, and he had success in the Big Ten at Ohio State. Obviously, national championship, guy. I don't think there's necessarily a bad choice when it comes to these two. I just, you wonder with Henderson off to a fast start, doesn't necessarily mean that, he's going to have the better career or that he fits, anybody's system better or whatever. It's just, I think it's a valid question to ask about those two guys.
Absolutely.
But I do agree with you. Judkins does remind me a little bit of Nick Chubb. Obviously, they're the SEC connections. Good, strong lower body. Good, just a strong runner. He seems to kind of seek out contact sometimes. I don't know that that's necessarily good or bad. I just, he's a physical guy. It is what it is. And I think another thing about Judkins is, again, with the success at Ohio State, success at Ole Miss, whatever, can he be that bell cow kind of or that I shouldn't say, well, just can he carry the bulk of the load for the Browns? Or is it going to be like a 3-back system? I mean, like you said, Jerome Ford, 5.4 yards per carry last year, didn't get a ton of carries. I think he was helped by a couple of really big runs to kind of, pump that average up a little bit. He's a capable guy.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just have concerns about the running game, I guess.
I don't know. I think that he could definitely sustain it. I know I'm looking up the stats right now. I know he ran a ton at Ole Miss. Like they ran him into the ground basically. He 2022 he had 274 attempts. 2021 he had 271. Last year with Ohio State he had less than 200. So. Okay. And that's sharing the workload. Without sharing the workload, he's looking at probably, close to 350, 400 at Ohio State. But, I mean, that's a lot of carries. That's a lot on his body already as a young guy.
Yeah, a lot of wear and tear.
Right. But, I mean, last year I think was the best business decision. Obviously, he won the national championship. But, for as far as business decisions, he, was the 1B to a top running back and, a second-round pick, just like him. Yeah. So that saved a lot of wear and tear on his body, and he won a national championship out of it. So hopefully he's smart enough to just, keep his body right. But I do think that he is capable of being that bell cow guy.
Yeah, I think that's fair too. And you said something about him, trying to catch up with the system, the offense, or whatever, kind of being late coming in, missing training camp. Luckily, I think, in my opinion, running back is probably the easiest position
for sure
to just plug a guy in and let him go, right? Reading, just like seeing the holes and hitting the holes is the same. It doesn't matter.
Right.
Obviously, there are things you're going to have to pick up blitzers here and there. He's going to need some work on that. But yeah, I think running back is kind of the easiest position. Just kind of plug in and, hey, we got a new guy, let him go. It's not quarterback. That's tough, right?
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, there's time and time again in the NFL, like Jordan Mason last year, he plug and play for Christian McCaffrey, and all of a sudden he's a top 5 running back. Any guy can step, well, not any guy, but a lot of guys can step in, and it's not much about the system. It's just much about the ability and the blockers in front of them. So.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, absolutely. You got to have a strong offensive line. Right. And I think the Browns have a really good offensive line, really, on paper. It's a matter of staying healthy. I don't know if you have any concerns about Ethan Posick at all. I mean, he went out that game 3 or that preseason third game. He went out with a knee injury, lower leg injury, lower body injury, I should say. Excuse me. Is there any concern for Posick to be? I mean, do you feel like he's healthy? You feel like he's going to be all right?
I mean, hopefully. I mean, they wouldn't play him out there if he wasn't. But with offensive linemen, they're always going to have leg injuries and knee injuries, bugs here and there. This early is a little concerning, especially with his backup being Luke Whippler, who I think is really good. He's from Ohio State, but he also had a season-ending injury. I think it was last year, the year before, relatively recently. So as far as depth there, you'd like to keep your guys healthy.
For sure.
But I mean, if he's playing, I'm not concerned. I trust the team. I don't think they're going to throw a guy out there, especially with, I say center is a very important position because of the first guy that touched the ball. Obviously, it's not the most important, but without him getting the ball to the quarterback, you have nothing. So they're not going to have a guy out there who's not ready. And hopefully he can just sustain staying relatively healthy. I know that, like I said, they always have knee braces. They're always going to have preventative measures, but things do happen.
Yeah. Dwan Jones is another guy on that offensive line, coming back from a knee injury last year. I think he's a little bit under the microscope today going against Trey Hendrickson. I mean, that's going to be a matchup that we'll have to keep an eye on. Again, you want to keep Hendrickson off of Joe Flacco. You want Flacco to be upright in the pocket with time to find, Jerry Jeudy, Cedric Tillman, whoever it's going to be.
Right.
I think I want to talk about this. I didn't really have this in my notes, but I want to talk about the connection that Joe Flacco had with David Njoku a couple of years ago when they were both here. That was like, I don't want to say magical, but it was magical, man. Yeah. That was really cool. They have a cool friendship. I mean, do you think that? I mean, I think that helps, right? When you're close off the field, I think it helps with just so many things on the field. I mean, what are you looking for out of Flacco? What are you looking for out of Flacco to Njoku, especially today against the Bengals? You looking for Njoku to have a big game?
Yeah. I mean, my question with Njoku is not his athletic abilities, it's his hands. And he's definitely last year he had a breakout year. I think he played really, really well. Especially 2 years ago with Flacco is when he really started. And I think he'll continue that. I think going back to Stefanski's offense, he loves his tight ends, and he's got a really, really good rookie in Harold Fannin Jr. out of Bowling Green, who I think is going to be a very good player for a while for the Browns. And kind of puts, Njoku under the microscope because he's on a contract year. So obviously he's looking to play his best with Flacco. I think Flacco gives him the chance because he is a contract year. He's going to throw all of his chips out on the table and hope for the best. If I'm in a contract year and I got the guy who, peppered me the ball 10 times a game, 2 seasons ago, and I want some money, I'm going to be buddy chummy with this guy too. So he's excited. And I expect him to catch a lot of balls this year, and especially today. I feel like I'm going to call it Njoku touchdown. That was one of them for sure.
Okay. Why not? I like it.
Why not? It's fun.
Why not? I love Harold Fannin Jr. too. I've been looking at a lot of his, I don't want to say film because I'm not like on the projector, but I'm looking at a lot of his highlights from Bowling Green. He's a really dynamic route runner. He's a great pass catcher. I don't know, he could probably use a little bit of work just in blocking. You got to be able to block as a tight end. I think especially in the NFL, you have to be able to block. And he can use some work there, but he's a local guy. I think that's really exciting. In more ways than one. I went to high school up here in Northeast Ohio, went to Bowling Green. I think it's fun to really hope that he has a good career. Don't necessarily want him to take over for David Njoku. I'd love to see him both in this offense. I'd love to see them both feast, But I think that's something to keep an eye on today. I mean, how the Browns actually use Njoku and Fannin. Again, the Bengals have that pretty good pass rush. They don't have a great secondary. It just is what it is. A couple of years ago, they let a couple safeties go. They just have decided to, I guess, shed some contract money to really – well, you've got to pay Joe Burrow and you've got to pay T. Higgins and you've got to pay Jamar Chase, and it's expensive. And it's not baseball. There's a salary cap. So you got to decide where you're going to spend your money, and you have to focus on something. You have to focus on offense or defense. And it's hard to have both. Man, some teams really seem to just get it. And I don't know if it's just luck or whatever, scouting probably. But the Browns and the Bengals are two of those teams, I think, that just have a hard time putting both of those products together on the field at the same time.
I agree.
And speaking of that Bengals secondary, can Jerry Jeudy and Cedric Tillman expose the secondary? It's not exactly the best in the league. We talked about it. They're not great. I think defense was the Bengals' glaring weakness last year. I think the Bengals are going to be forced to, put the bulk of the weight on Joe Burrow's shoulders and win a lot of games, 42-38, 45-42. You don't necessarily want to get into a shootout with them, but at the same time, that's an exhausting way to keep having to win football games.
I mean, honestly, I would love to be in a shootout and actually win some games. So
It's fun
I'm
to
not
watch.
pessimistic on this season, but our schedule is really, really rough. So if we're in a shootout and it's exciting games, that's all I could ask for right now, because
That's fair.
I'm somewhat expecting the opposite. So
Yeah, that's fair. I think today could be a little bit lower scoring.
Yeah.
I just the Browns defense. We'll get to the Browns defense in a minute, but they're really good on paper. As long as they're healthy, I think they're going to give a lot of teams some problems. We talked about it on the show yesterday. We talked a little bit of NFL yesterday on here on the network, on the Inside Edge Network. Just kind of an NFL preview. The Browns defense has, and again, we'll get to it in a minute, but they have a weird tackling issue on the road. People always say, hey, listen, defense travels. Like if you have a good defense, you can do anything. Road, home, doesn't matter. The Browns have a weird problem with tackling guys, just getting guys on the ground on the road. I don't understand it. We saw it a couple years ago in Indianapolis where they just the Colts ran all over them.
Yeah.
I think we saw it a little bit in that Texans playoff game a couple years ago as well. I don't know. It's a weird, kind of a bizarre problem to have. But like I said, we'll get to the defense in a minute. Let's get back to Jerry Jeudy. He's coming off a Pro Bowl year, which is crazy to say that, hey, look, the Browns have a Pro Bowl wide receiver, right? As inept as that offense was at times last year. One of the biggest things I think I miss from the Browns offense last year, it wasn't great on paper. They didn't score a ton of points. I think there were like 4 teams that were worse than them in the league, and they weren't good football teams. But Jameis Winston's personality is gone. And I think that's like, don't you think he was like one of those locker room guys that just sort of like bonds a team and like melds a team together? Like, do you think they're going to be missing that this year at all?
Dude, I miss Jameis Winston. I love him. He's hilarious.
Yes.
I mean, whether he completes the ball, whether it's to our team or the other team, he completes the ball.
It's not going to hit the ground. Somebody's going to catch it. Yeah.
Yeah. He's very entertaining. I don't know. I've always loved him. I thought he's always been hilarious. I think he's got a great opportunity outside of football once he's done to go into media and just do some really, really good things with his humor, and just it's almost like every single time he talks it's like a hilarious sermon almost. It's just, I don't know, he's very captivating. So so I could definitely see him being missed inside the locker room just for that in general, him eating the W's and all that stuff. He was in the preseason with Jackson Dart, having Jackson Dart eat the W, so I mean, the guy's gonna be missed.
He's a fun guy, man.
Yeah. He is, yeah. This year, it seems like, at least rumor is, they cracked down a little bit more. It's less as fun, more like, hey, we're gonna bust this year. They didn't go to West Virginia during the preseason and do like the Greenbrier and all that stuff. It was really in house. And I've heard it was more intense, and allegedly Vrabel is what caused that, because he's like, allegedly said like, what is up with this? You guys are all soft, like, and a lot of soft tissue and injuries of that nature could happen because their bodies aren't used to that sort of, not abuse, but just wear and tear. So hopefully this year, they're all about football. Yeah, they're gonna miss Jameis. I'm rambling here. Sorry.
No, you're good.
I think originally we were talking about Joe Flacco. Continue. I'm sorry. I lost track.
It's okay. There. I think you brought up a great point. I mean, I think it's listen, you can have fun. You got to have fun to win, but I think you have to win to have fun too, right? Like they had a lot of fun last year, but they went 3-14.
Yeah.
Maybe fun came first last year. And listen, I'm not a big like, hey, let's get like totally serious. Let's not laugh. Let's not smile, whatever. But I think it's a bad look sometimes when you're on the sidelines goofing around in a game that you're losing like 38-10 or whatever.
Yeah.
I think people just, fans don't want to see that. They want to see success, right? They want to see a winner. It's been few and far between that the Browns have really been able to put a winner on the field. The quarterback situation has been just, I don't even know what to call the quarterback situation since 1999. I mean, it's
a farce. I mean, that's about it.
I mean, it's been just a comedy of errors, really.
Yeah.
We're always talking about the next guy under center, right? We're always talking about like, well, hey, who is the next guy? Who's it going to be? Who's QB1? Who's QB2? We in Cleveland, we're obsessed with who's QB3 and QB4. We shouldn't be thinking about those things, right? Like, it's just it's a mess that we even have to talk about it. It's been 26 seasons that they've had, right, to put a winning quarterback, a winning team on the field. And like I said, it's been very few and far between. Cedric Tillman, let's get back to the receivers. He's kind of been dealing with a thumb thing. He's good to go today. Do you think that affects him at all? I mean, the Browns aren't like a one-trick pony out there with Jerry Jeudy, are they? I mean, Tillman's going to be okay, right?
I think so. I mean, Tillman's a big, tough guy.
Yeah.
I mean, he looked like he was about to be another breakout candidate until he had the unfortunate concussions issues that took him out the rest of the season. I mean, he was playing really well. He was top 15 receiver at one point for a couple of weeks straight. Hopefully, he'll continue. I don't think the finger is going to mess with him too much. Obviously, you need your fingers to catch the ball, but I think he's ready to chomp at the bit. I think he's ready to get back out there and continue what he left on the field and almost, I don't want to say lost, but definitely lost the rest of the season last year for the concussions. I think he's going to be ready. I think he could be good. Can Flacco get it to him? Maybe. We'll see. I mean, he's going to be straight down the field. I don't know about Flacco's arm yet for deep balls, and Tillman's going to be either a slant or a deep ball guy usually. So, but I mean, out of all the quarterbacks on our team right now, I do trust Flacco to win the most. Do I think that's the best option for the team right now? I don't know. We'll get into that maybe, but I mean,
as far as guys on the roster, I do think Flacco is the best option now. We can talk about long term who gives you the most upside or whatever. But I'm let me ask you this: we're talking about Joe Flacco. How long is the leash on him? And I don't mean in the game today or if he throws a couple. We know. Listen, Joe Flacco's another guy. He's not going to throw many incompletions, right? Either, well, they're going to go down as incompletions, but the offense is going to catch it. The defense is somebody's going to catch the ball again. Joe Flacco is. Sometimes he's a 3 touchdown, 3 interception kind of a guy, right? Mm-hmm. But the one thing that I think I guess the advantage with Flacco is he's going to keep the offense on the field. There aren't going to be a ton of 3 and outs. He may throw a pick now and then, but it seems to be it's like the 8th, 9th, 10th play of the drive. Very rarely do you see Flacco just come out and just give it over, to the defense on the first play or second play of the drive. I think you have to give this defense a little bit of a break. I think that's something they didn't really have last year. A lot of 3 and outs, a lot of turnovers where the defense was just on the field all day. And I don't care how good your defense is. I don't care what they look like on paper. I don't care how many all-pros you have, how many future Hall of Famers you have out there at every level of the day. It doesn't matter. If you're on the field for 45 minutes, you're going to be exhausted, right? You can't do it. It's hard to play defense in the NFL. It's very reactionary. You're trying to keep up with, some of the best wide receivers in football in this division, really. So it can be pretty tiring. But I want to ask you. Let me let you have a chance to answer that question since I asked you and moved right past it. How long do you think that leash is for Flacco this season? I mean, if he starts to, if the Browns come out and they, they're I don't want to say it, but 1-5, 2-6, whatever. Do you think they go to one of the kids? They go to Dylan Gabriel or Shedeur Sanders, or I mean, what do you think? Flacco has to stay healthy. That's the biggest thing.
Right.
Let's just health aside. Let's just pretend he's healthy for 17 games. Let's do whatever. What do you think that looks like for Flacco? I mean, what's his shelf life as far as that goes?
Yeah. So I think, obviously at the beginning of the season, the Browns' intention is to win as many games as possible. They want to make the playoffs. They want to go to the Super Bowl. Yeah. That's clearly not realistic to you and I, but to them, that's their goal. Individual games, I don't think Flacco has a leash at all. He's going to be able to go out there and sling it. I don't think he's going to be a big turnover guy. He might throw 1 or 2 here and there, but he's going to have more completions and touchdowns and turnovers. I don't know how significant that number will be, but it'll be more. I think it'll be down to the schedule. Unfortunately, I think Flacco will be the first scapegoat if everything goes south. It's not going to be Stefanski. And, the unfortunate realization or the reality is that, we have these 2 rookies and we have these 2 first-round picks next year. So logically to me, we need to know what we have in these rookies. We need to know not Samson. Oh my gosh. I'm blanking.
Shedeur Sanders?
No, the 3rd round pick.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh yeah. Dylan Gabriel. Yeah.
Gabriel. Gosh, I was going for Samson. Yeah, Gabriel. We have to see if Gabriel or Sanders is the guy. And we're not going to see that unless we get them out on the field.
It's true. Yeah. You can't have them on the sidelines and say, hey, they look really good in a jersey. They're probably the guy, right? You can't know that.
And unfortunately, we don't have time. We have 17 games. That's it. Yep. We have that much time to evaluate these guys and see if they're the future. I would definitely like to use those picks on, Caleb Downs, a safety, and another offensive lineman, instead of using both of them to go up to 1 or 2, or if our schedule's bad enough, maybe we'll just own that pick and draft. But if we don't, Joe Flacco's 40. If we don't have the quarterback for the future for this year, they're going to go find him next year.
They're going to have to. And I don't want to, Ryan, I can't do another season of looking ahead to who's going to be the next quarterback taken in the draft and who's the next. I can't
They
do
put
it.
us there, man. I don't know.
Oh,
I mean,
gosh.
we had it with. I'm a self-proclaimed Baker bro. I loved Baker.
Yeah.
And hindsight's 2020. Obviously, I feel like 100% of the Browns fan that would want Baker back and would absolutely reverse that trade in a heartbeat. But we're here now,
knowing what we know now. Yeah, I think we would. Yep.
Right. So it's just
the Deshaun Watson experiment was a mess. It was obviously a huge. I mean, the owner told you himself it was a swing and a miss.
That's the biggest one in sports history. Not just a swing and a miss.
Oh, yeah. I feel like they struck out looking on that one, to be honest with you. Yeah. And they had a guy on the roster. Baker was winning some football games. I don't know. I loved Baker Mayfield here. I thought he was the guy going forward. I thought he was the guy to build around. But I think now that, like you said, hindsight's 2020. I think looking back on it, maybe Baker needed to get out of here and to go somewhere else and mature a little bit and go through some different things. And, he really seems to have found a home in Tampa Bay. And following Tom Brady there is rough, right? And he's done a fantastic job. I mean, he's an MVP candidate this year.
He's got a solid team too. Yeah.
Can you imagine if Baker Mayfield wins I don't want to say it.
Oh, Browns.
Go Browns, and maybe it's Arch Manning or Lynn. I don't think Arch Manning comes out, to be honest with you. I think he stays another year at Texas. So maybe it's Lenoris Sellers, maybe it's Garrett Nussmeier, maybe it's Drew Aller, maybe it's I don't know, man. I mean,
Cade Kluge.
He hasn't looked very good. Clemson looks rough, man. I thought, man, LSU was like, man, they're like the top 2 or 3 team. But then I saw what Troy did to Clemson yesterday, and Clemson had trouble moving the ball. Whatever. Maybe he's not the guy. We'll see. It's a long season. I don't want to judge these guys on 2 games, but
what was the outcome of that game? I missed it. I was
they were down 16-0 in the third. They came back and won 27-16.
Okay,
so
that's crazy. Yeah,
they did come back and win. Cleveland, they played better. I don't know. That doesn't make me feel warm and fuzzy inside, knowing that he struggled against the defense, that defensive prowess of Troy, right?
Yeah.
Whatever.
Powerhouse.
Here we are. So let me get to you. So I don't know how do you feel about Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders? Like I said, I think Sanders gives you the most upside long-term. I don't know that necessarily makes him the clear starter next year and going forward or whenever the Flacco reign is kind of done here, hopefully I'm fingers crossed, I don't want him to get hurt. But something's going to happen to a 40-year-old quarterback where he's going to be off the field for a game or 2, whatever. Who do you think gives you the best option to win now? Is it Dylan Gabriel or is it Shedeur Sanders?
It's a hard question. I feel like we really haven't had enough to go by to answer that appropriately. But looking back I was one of the guys who on draft day, I did not want Shedeur Sanders second overall. I was adamant about it. And we got in plenty of disagreements in my other podcast, VTL pod. And, I saw the issues, him running backwards a lot, him backpedaling. He's incredibly accurate. He's a good athlete. He's got a stout name and a good family for football. For sure. But there were some concerns with Gabriel. I mean, obviously his first thing was his height for me. He's pretty short, I thought, scouting him, I did not think his arm was as strong as it was. I didn't think he could make, those boundary throws he can make them, but not as strong. He had a strong arm.
Well, it's stronger than I thought. He never had to make those throws in Oregon. I mean, it was just like, look out to the flats, dump it off to a guy and they go, right? They have all these track athletes there. And I mean, I think he and Shedeur Sanders actually both, their air yards per pass in college were very, very low because of a lot of that kind of like swing passes and screens and things. And it's hard to get a really good gauge on whether or not they can throw the deep ball or the 20-yard out in the NFL or the back shoulder. We saw, Julian Sayin yesterday throw a couple of really nice back shoulder balls. Can they throw those kind of, but we don't know. We have no idea if they can do that in the NFL or not. We haven't seen it.
Yeah. So. And it's just down to if you trust Stefanski and his word. I don't necessarily 100% trust Stefanski. I think I'm not a pessimistic Browns fan. I look at things for what they are, and I'm very logical. I think that he used Ken Dorsey as a scapegoat. I think that he saw that his system wasn't doing well, and then he switched over to Ken Dorsey and it's not doing well. It's his fault. Now it's time to put up or shut up, buddy. It sucks that we have, Flacco, who I think will do well, but in these 2 rookies, it's not the best situation, but it's time, man. And I mean, the only excuse I could see him is, I want to go get my guy in the draft if it doesn't work. And I'm just tired of it. So
yeah, can we keep doing that? You know,
Right.
it's funny. You said trust Stefanski. Man, you're giving me Hugh Jackson and Cody Kessler vibes over here. Trust
Right.
me.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
making
Yeah.
me. You gave me a shiver up my spine. It's we're getting into spooky season, and I just got a shiver up my spine. That scared me a little bit. Don't do that to me, man. Don't do that. Don't say it. Don't give me
Right.
Hugh Jackson vibes. 3 and whatever. So again, I wanted to talk about DeJuan Jones a little bit. Do you think? I mean, I assume he's healthy and ready to go.
Yeah.
Didn't hear much about him one way or the other in the preseason, whether it was good or bad. He's a guy I really like. Why do I keep doing the Chris Collinsworth? Here's a guy. What am I doing? I'm not Chris Collinsworth. I don't know what I'm doing here. But DeJuan Jones, I think he's just really easy to root for. I mean, he stepped in last year and played really so much better than I think anyone expected. He's looking like a value pick. I mean, it's all of a sudden, like, I don't think you can go wrong taking an offensive lineman out of Ohio State. Like, that was an area of weakness for a while, but they seem to develop these guys now. And DeJuan Jones he was a good one until he got hurt. What kind of a season are you looking for him to have? I mean, first of all, can he stay healthy? He's a big guy, man. Like,
he's huge.
It's hard to keep knees and ankles and things healthy when you weigh like close to 400 pounds. I mean, it's a big dude, but he's surprisingly mobile. I mean, do you think that like, I mean, I don't know. I mean, what are you looking for as far as his mobility and his ability to keep guys like Trey Hendrickson off of Joe Flacco?
Right. I mean, respectfully, I think a parking cone would have done better than Jed Wills in his 4 years. So,
yeah, caution tape and
yeah, I love Big Thanos. I mean, the big issue here, I do have no question about his ability. I think that he's proven that he can start in the NFL. He played really well at right tackle, and then when he made the switch over, he played great until he got hurt. My concerns would be injuries, of course. That being that big guys like that, they have knee problems, leg problems, and him staying healthy is going to be incredibly important. And today is going to be a huge task. It's not just like, oh, hey, yeah, this defense sucks. You're going against a top 5 player in the NFL at his position today.
Yeah.
And,
the secondary aside, the Browns front 7 is actually pretty good. Like I said, they have a decent pass rush. So
I'm talking about Trey Henderson here.
Just Trey Hendrickson. Yeah. I'm sorry to say the Browns. I would say the Bengals.
You're good. You're good. Yeah. They're pretty good. But he's a perennial, defensive MVP candidate, and it's going to be a tall task. I believe in him. I think he can do it. I think he'll get some help with the guard if he needs it. Just stick to his keys and he's got it. He's big. He's huge. It's gonna be hard to get around him just because of his size, let alone, like you said, he's fast, he's good on his feet, and his background at basketball for sure helps him. So I think third round pick, like, I don't talk about Andrew Berry's picks a ton usually because, like I said, hindsight's 2020, a lot of them have panned out, but this guy looks like he is the real deal. And I think he is going to step up when we absolutely need him to step up.
Yeah, I think he was a great value pick. Like you said, just a big guy, hard to get around because of his, and with the knee, if he's healthy, you're not going to bull rush him either. I mean, he's very good on his feet. He's pretty mobile, but they've got to be good. That offensive line has to stay healthy because we don't exactly have the mobility of Lamar Jackson or the magical escapability of Patrick Mahomes back there under, behind center. We've got Joe Flacco. Right. And listen, I love Flacco, but he's 40 years old. He doesn't move the way he used to. He didn't move that great to begin with. Kind of, sometimes like Tom Brady, didn't move well, but he was so good in the pocket, right? Like, he just was so good at like just avoiding the rush and creating angles to throw. And I think Flacco he's not Tom Brady, but I think he does a good job of moving around, creating angles to throw a little bit. I think Flacco can do that if he's got time. It's that offensive line's going to have to give him time. His
experience in general. He's very smart. He understands offenses and he can read defenses. You don't play in the NFL till you're 40 if you can't read defenses. So that alone is going to be very helpful, especially when the backups are these rookies who have zero experience in that.
Yeah, and he's a Super Bowl winner. I mean, you can say what you want about the Ravens defense carrying whatever, but Flacco's been there. He's done that. You don't come out of Delaware and, like you said, have a 20-year NFL career. Right. If you're not, pretty adept at what you're doing. But I do want to get to the Browns defense because I think this is our strength, right? This is like the Browns. This is we finally have something. If they can stay healthy, on paper, the Browns defense looks really, really good. And the Browns defense is like, the Vegas win total, it is what it is. The over-under is 5.5. Last year, everybody was super excited going in. And, I was on my show. I also host a show called The Sports Show with no name. I'm very creative when it comes to naming. So, but I said, I don't like this. I think the Browns are going to win 3 or 4 games. And, a lot of people are looking at me like, what do you mean? Like, Watson's bad. This is we got this. We got Chubb, blah, blah, blah. I just thought it was going to go bad, right? I just thought it could go really, really badly. And it couldn't have gone any worse, really, to start. But what I suspected was going to happen happened, and the Browns' offense just looked completely inept. They couldn't move the ball. There was no creativity. There's no explosiveness. That's just a lot of guys running around out of sync, not in time with each other. And, it can't look like that this year. And I think at least the bright spot coming into this year is the Browns' defense, right? Personnel-wise, scheme-wise, I think they're onto something. That defensive line, man, Myles Garrett, Aiden Huntington came out of nowhere, and he was an impact guy in the preseason. Yeah. Malik Collins, Alex Wright. But what I'm going to talk to you about, I'm going to ask you about this. Mason Graham. I advocated, I yelled and screamed and whatever I could say. I said, listen, trade back. Everybody said, take Shedeur Sanders or Travis Hunter. That's the guy. The Browns weren't there, right? Like,
sure.
To take a guy like Travis Hunter at the second pick overall, or a guy like Shedeur Sanders, that's not where the Browns are. I thought, listen, let's build from the inside out. Let's take a safe pick. And I know, like, whatever, it's not exciting. He's not going to score 14 touchdowns because he's a defensive lineman, but he is a block eater, man. Like, Mason
and he's
Graham
a run defensive genius. He's really good at the run defense, which we desperately needed.
Yes,
especially when you're referencing that Colts game when Jonathan Taylor ran all over us. Like, our run defense has not been good for years, and this guy
Taylor is still picking up rushing yards from that game.
Right?
It's wild. But I thought Mason Graham was the perfect pick to, like, really that's where you start, right? You start in the trenches. And I didn't think. I watched Mason. I watched Michigan a lot. I'm an Ohio State fan, but I love you watch your opponents, right? Like, you want to see what's going on. I watched him play Oklahoma last night. I saw some things or whatever. But with Mason Graham, what I saw was a guy with a good, strong base, right? Good, low center of gravity. He penetrates, right? He gets into the backfield. He disrupts. He's pretty good in the pass rush. He's not bad, right, for a defensive tackle. But like you said, he's a run guy. He just stops the run. He's a run stopper. He's a block eater. I think it helps guys like I said, Malik Collins, Myles Garrett. He's going to help those guys run free a little bit. And the Browns added someone in the draft that I think might have gone under the radar just a little bit, whatever. But second round pick, Carson Schlesinger at linebacker.
He's going to win Rookie Defensive Player of the Year, by the way.
He made the impact that I thought he could make. I thought, this is a good guy. Again, I didn't know a lot about him when they drafted him, right? Sort of under the radar guy, but those West Coast games sometimes get lost, right? They kick off at 11 o'clock at night. You don't get to watch. Especially if you have kids, you got to do stuff. You got to get up early in the morning, whatever. But yeah, looking at some of his highlights I was just like, wow, like, this guy's pretty dynamic, and can he do this in the NFL? And so far in the preseason, listen, I know preseason is preseason. We've talked a lot. I remember when I don't know, like, Brandon Whedon was on Sports Science picking off clay pigeons with the football. And we're like, this is our guy. Look at him. Unfortunately, we didn't have any clay pigeons that were wide receivers. I did too, but we didn't have any clay pigeons on the roster, so it didn't work out at all. He had to throw to people, and he couldn't find him. He got lost under the flag.
Right.
Remember his opener? He got lost under the giant.
So embarrassing.
I knew we were in trouble, and he threw a million interceptions that day. And Mike Vick tried to give the game away for the Eagles, but whatever, they couldn't win. Another opener that they lost. Weird, right? 3-22-1. But yeah, I think Schlesinger is an impact guy, and I think with the defensive line set up the way they are, I think that lets him roam a little. It lets him get free and make some plays. You said Player of the Year, right? Defensive Rookie of the Year, not Player of the Year, but Defensive Rookie of the Year. Obviously, you think he has a high ceiling. I mean, tell us a little bit about how you feel about Schlesinger, other than Defensive Rookie of the Year. I think it's obvious.
Yeah, I think first off, his mind is what makes him a player. I mean, he is so intelligent. I'm pretty sure he was an engineering major. He's very intelligent. He actually didn't have a ton of experience in playing football. I'm pretty sure he was a walk-on at UCLA, but he is so smart. The guy. So it's unfortunate what happened to JOK. I mean, hopefully, in the future he can come back with this team. Obviously, Andrew Berry said his situation is nebulous. It's always flowing. We'll figure it out. But they clearly drafted him because they knew that they're going to need somebody like JOK for their defense. And this guy is so fast. He hits so hard. He is. I mean, he's going to lead our team in tackles this year, I believe, as a rookie. He's already wearing the green sticker, so he's going to be calling the defense. And
that's crazy, right?
It's crazy. And I don't like guaranteeing you, but I truly think that he is going to be as advertised, and which is sad because he's not being advertised that well, but I'm advertising him, and he's
totally under the radar. Yeah.
He's going to fly around. He's a sidelines guy. He's very, very fast. I think he had like 4 or 5 interceptions last year in college. He just has a nose for the ball. He's very smart, and he is going to run this defense, and he hopefully with some time, will become a leader and not tolerate anything but, what he expects. I think he can be that type of player eventually. So.
Yeah, I think maybe, I'm thinking about it. As I said, he's totally under the radar. He's not advertised, whatever. I think maybe that brain trust of the Browns is I think they're sensitive to the fact that I think fans are just tired of hearing about, hey, this is our next guy. This is like, just show us on the field. Just let him go make plays. We don't want to hear Brandon Whedon picking off the clay pigeons or, Deshaun Watson's going to be healthy here. Whatever.
Homeless man picking Johnny Manziel.
Yeah. We don't want to hear that stuff, right? We don't want to hear, hey, this is our guy, right? Cody Kessler, trust me, right? We don't want to hear that stuff. We will build. You can build the trust with us by showing us on the field.
Exactly.
And I think Schlesinger is really probably the best candidate since JOK on the defense to really do that. Delpit got off to a little bit of a rough start here. Grant Delpit was one of those guys where I was really excited about it. But injuries and things have kept him off the field. Like you said, JOK, that situation is very unfortunate. And by all accounts, I don't know him personally, but he seems to be a great human being first, and then a great player second. Just a great guy. It makes me sad when things like that happen to guys like that, but I don't know what's going to happen with that neck injury. It's a weird situation.
Yeah, it's sad.
That's tough, man. It's tough. So we talked about the first 2 levels of the Browns defense, right? We talked about the defensive line, how good they can be. We talked about possibly, starting to stabilize the linebacker spot a little bit with Schlesinger in the middle and calling the plays, and him being a leader, hopefully defensive rookie of the year, whatever, leading the team in tackles. He's what we like to call around the ball, right? I like to say some guys are just around the ball, and he's one of those guys. His nose is always on something. Let's talk about the Browns secondary a little bit, because we talked about Grant Delpit. Hopefully he can stay healthy, but Denzel Ward's another guy who's had some, injury concerns with the concussions here and there. Greg Newsome, Ronnie Hickman, they're going to have their hands full today. I want to specifically talk about today. Because we can project forward, but Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Joe Burrow, Chase Brown at the running back. The Bengals have a dynamic, explosive offense that can put 40 on you quick, right?
Yeah.
With the help of that defensive line, I mean, what are you looking for from the secondary today? Can they shut these guys down, or can they slow them down to the point where this Browns offense, led by Flacco and company, can they keep up?
Yeah. Obviously, I have a lot of confidence in Denzel Ward. I think he's one of the best in his position. I'd say top 2 between him and Pat Surtain personally. I think he won't have a problem, and he loves the competition that him and Jamar Chase have against each other. They don't like each other, and they let each other know it. So anytime anyone makes a play on each other, they're going to let each other know it. Unfortunately, I'm not a huge fan of Greg Newsome. I think that he lets a lot of people talk. He talks a lot, but he doesn't show up too much as far as I'm concerned. Usually when I see him air guitar in the field, it's because a quarterback overthrew a receiver 20 yards and you think he did something. So I think he's going to have his hands full with T. Higgins. T. Higgins is no slouch. Yeah, he's not, Jamar Chase, but he's he's paid. He's one of the highest paid in the league for a reason. And he's going to play well.
Those guys have 80 career touchdown catches together. I mean,
that's crazy.
Chase has 46, Higgins has 34. So
so I think the secondary is gonna solely rely on Greg Newsome here. We'll see how he does. I personally don't have a ton of confidence in him. I was adamant. I was thinking, he could have been a trade candidate this past trade deadline. But he's on our team, and he's got a big task ahead of him, so he's got to do well. Also, Ronnie Hickman. I like Ronnie Hickman, but he's at UDFA. He played well, as a rookie. He had a couple interceptions, but now this is a big time role for him, and we'll see how he does. I hope he does well. Obviously, he's a Buckeye, but he's unproven, and for a UDFA player to get out there and be a first time starter, his second or third year is pretty awesome for him. But now he's got to show that on the field.
Yeah, the Browns have actually they've done a pretty good job of putting safeties out there and getting a decent amount of, I don't want to say production because they're safeties.
John Johnson, I don't know.
Yeah, they've been okay, right? They've been okay. Here and there. They've had their
Yeah.
concerns as well, but I don't know. Like you said, it's a mixed bag. You don't really know what you're going to see,
Right.
but we will see it on the field today. I mean, we're gonna find out. I think it all depends on, again, the defensive line and their ability to get home against Joe Burrow, and not necessarily. I don't think they have to sack him 7 or 8 times or whatever. Although, the Bengals kind of have like a weird. We talked about it on the show yesterday. The Bengals have this weird mental block with the Browns. I'm not sure what it is. Beat them twice last year, but that was a different whatever. That was a different kind of Browns team. But yeah, we've seen it in the past where really good Bengals teams have come in here and kind of laid an egg against the Browns. And for one reason or another, it's whatever. It's I don't know what that. I don't even know. Like sometimes psychologically, sports can be crazy, right?
Yeah. Well, Zach Taylor also, he's only 1-10 in the first 2 weeks during his time as a Bengals head coach. So that's something that he's going to have to mentally hurdle as well. So
yeah, the Bengals are really good at getting off to a slow start as well.
Yeah.
They're better at overcoming than the Browns have been. But with the quarterback like Joe Burrow and receivers like they have, I think it's easier to do that. But yeah, if the defensive line can get home and rush Burrow a little bit and make him uncomfortable, if they can give him some different looks, if he can like just confuse him a little bit. I mean, not that he's a guy that gets super confused. I mean, he's again really good at reading the defense and making the right decision. But if you can rush him, I think that's a good thing. If you can get any quarterback moving quicker than they want to move, that's a great thing. But a lot of it comes down to, we talked about the defensive line. We haven't talked about Myles Garrett's hip yet. Myles Garrett always has some kind of a health issue, and I don't blame him for that. I mean, he takes a lot, right? Like he's got to deal with a team's best offensive tackle. They move him all around, but he's got to see, not only just the offensive tackle. He's seeing tight ends. He's seeing running backs. He gets hit a lot. He gets a lot of attention on the field. One way or another, he's gonna get touched, right? So is his hip healthy enough? I mean, do you think can he get home today? Is he going to be good?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, he wouldn't be playing if he wasn't actually fully healthy.
Well, we'd have a bad feeling if Garrett was out week 1, wouldn't we? Like if Garrett was out today, wouldn't we have a bad feeling?
Have no hope at all. I mean, I'm sure he's sore. I'm sure he's gonna not be 100%, but like I said, the addition of Mason Graham, that should help him. That should counteract anything that's going to be wrong with his injury. I mean, they're going to have to figure out how to stop Mason Graham, and that's just going to open up the rest of the defensive line, including our, defensive MVP in Myles Garrett. I don't think, it's going to be an issue of his injury. I expect him to play well. Hopefully he gets home, like you said. But he should be an impact player on this team, especially if we have any chance of winning.
Yeah, I know sometimes Myles Garrett gets a little bit of flack for taking series off. Like sometimes you look over and it's like, whatever, it's 3rd and 14. You're like, okay, this is prime Myles Garrett time, and he's on the sidelines, right? But gosh, man, I mean, the guy just he takes a beating. He gives so much effort to the Browns. I mean, he's got this huge contract. He's got to have a lot of, I would hope, some stress and anxiety behind him at this point. He can just go out and play, right? Like, doesn't have to worry about his future. Doesn't have to worry about those things. I know he desperately wants to be on a winner. I don't know that this year's edition of the Browns are going to quite be that for him. And we can get to that in a second, because I'm going to ask you, because it's week 1 and we don't know what's going on. I'm going to ask you for your record prediction for the Browns in a minute. But yeah, I think Myles Garrett he's a physical specimen. I mean, he's an absolute freak of nature. You're not supposed to be that big and that fast. Honestly, it would be terrible. I don't care if I'm 6'6", 340 pounds as an offensive tackle. I'm still terrified to line up across from Myles Garrett.
He's solid muscle. It's crazy.
Yeah, I don't want to block that guy. It's ridiculous. I feel like if you put him at tight end, he'd find a way to be good at it too. He's a football player. He's a great athlete. It's crazy, and he loves dinosaurs. And I think my son would love that. So that's
mine
cool. Too. Paleontologist, right? Okay, so while we talked about the Browns record predictions, we've got about 10 minutes left here until game time. So I want to get off of here and let you guys just enjoy the game. Which, by the way, it's going to be on Fox today. I think that's a little weird. I got Kevin Kugler and Daryl Johnston on the call. Allison Williams will be roaming the sidelines. So enjoy that in about 10 minutes here. But I do want to get your record prediction for the 2025 Browns. What do you think, Ryan?
What you said, the over-under was like 5.5?
5.5 out of Vegas. Yeah. This is a loaded question for the Browns too.
Yeah, I'm taking the under. Unfortunately, I think apart from, our team with the old quarterback, we have some decent pieces, but I don't think it's going to be sustained. And our schedule is one of the hardest in the NFL. It's very, very hard.
Especially the first 6 weeks or so. Brutal.
Yeah,
I'm not looking. They go to Baltimore.
Yeah, it's crazy. I'm not looking to be pessimistic, but I'm a realistic person. I'm going to say 3 wins this season, top 2-3 pick, and we'll move on to brighter future ahead.
Yeah, hopefully Jacksonville's bad. I'm looking at Jacksonville. Right. I think they're going to be better, but the Browns have their first round pick as well.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping between one of the two of these teams, they end up with at least a top 5 pick. I suspect that the Browns, like I said, I think the floor is about 3 wins. I think the ceiling is 8. I can't see them getting past 8 wins. I don't understand how you can look at a schedule and look at the roster and look at the just where they are in their timeline and say, hey, this team's going to go 10-7. That blows my mind. There are people that are very, very optimistic that expect the Browns to win a wild card. Listen, sometimes in Cleveland, we just get excited if we see them in the hunt, right, in October. Like if we see them in that little graphic where they're in the hunt, they might be at the bottom of they're 4-5 or whatever, and we're excited, right? They're in the hunt. But we know that next week, if like 3 teams win, they're gone. They're eliminated. That's it. So in the hunt would be cool for a little bit into the season when they start showing those graphics.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, that'd be great. I don't think it's going to happen. I think like you, I've got 7-10. I'm more. That's my optimist. That's me being an optimist. Yeah, that's 7-10 is that's my top. That's like I said, the ceiling is 8 wins, but I really think 7 is the most that they can get to. I'm just going to say everything goes great. Everybody stays healthy. They win 7 games. They go 7-10. Maybe that gives us a little bit of good feeling going into next year. I don't know. I mean, I guess it depends on how you go 7-10. If you start off 6-1 and lose the whatever, then that's not great. But I don't suspect they're going to start off 6-1 with this beginning of their schedule either. So I guess, 7-10. I think we should, we should probably see one of the young quarterbacks pretty early on. And if we see one of them, we'll definitely see both of them. I think it's going to be a situation where, there's going to be a point where one of those guys is going to get out on the field and show some obvious growing pains. I think all the concerns, Dylan Gabriel's height, I think that maybe could help him in Kevin Stefanski's play action offense. It could help him. You can hide back there a little bit. I also think Sanders, I think his problems are, he tends to run backwards away from pressure. He's very accurate, though. And I think if you can teach him, I think it's a teachable thing. I think you can teach him to step up into the pocket and, maybe not so much embrace the contact and take a bunch of hits. But if he can kind of work his way up into the pocket instead of trying to, flush himself out and try to get around, I mean, that's where he gets in trouble. I think if you can teach him to step up into the pocket and make those throws, he can be much better. I don't know. I just think we're going to see those guys earlier than we want to this year, unfortunately.
I think we should. I mean, I think that's what we need to do. So
yeah, unfortunately, I think you're right. I think that's the workman approach. You got to see what you have, right? Because you can't have 2 draft picks on the roster, and then next year they're going to be second-round guys and go in and pick another quarterback. Right. I mean, what does your quarterback room even look like? You're going to have a rookie or maybe possibly 2 rookies and 2 second. I don't know.
It's a mess,
Kenny Pickett, Kenny Pickett hurt his hamstring in the preseason. I think really threw this whole thing off. I think the Browns thought when they went out and got Pickett, I think they thought he was going to be the starter. Right? That was the plan.
I don't know if that was the best plan, but
I don't know if it was the best plan. But it was a plan.
Yep.
Yeah, it was a plan, and at least that solidified something. Right? That was. He wasn't going to be a 10 or 11 win guy. I don't know. It's hard to. I find I have trouble finding words when it comes to talking about the Browns quarterback situation because I think everything's been said over the last 26 seasons that you could say. None of it's gone well. Baker was good for a couple seasons, and then we shipped him out of here, and we brought a guy in who, I think his college coach he compared him to Michael Jordan. Well, he's played like Michael B. Jordan a little bit. Yeah. That's not what we wanted to see, but whatever. That's fine. That's where we are now. So now I think we have to get to our game predictions today because this is what this is about, right? It's a pregame show. It's not a preseason show. So Browns take on the Cincinnati Bengals. They're at home. It's a winnable game because of the Bengals' porous defense. Makes it seem a little less winnable when you look at, like I said, Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Chase Brown. So what are your thoughts? Give me a score for today's game and what do you think? Who wins today?
Yeah, I mean, so I think the key in general for the season is going to be the turnover battle, especially with our defense. I mean, we went from 2 years ago to having a ton of them to last year having barely any. So the defense needs to get a turnover if they're going to win this game. It's going to have to happen. Like you said, I mean, our offense is questionable. Their defense is relatively pretty bad. They have a couple of key pieces that are good, but in general, it's not a good defense. Their offense is incredible, and our defense is incredible. It's going to be a close game. I think the turnover battle is going to be what separates the teams. The schedule is going to be hard. I still question Kevin Stefanski and his offense until I see it. I don't know if I can go out on a limb here. I'm unfortunately going to pick the Bengals to win over the Browns today, 21-20 in a very close game.
Okay, close game. I like it. I too think it's going to come down to turnovers. Like I said, they're going to have to get to Joe Burrow. They're gonna need to rush him. You can't let Joe Burrow sit in the pocket and pick you apart with guys. We've talked about the receivers, and right, we know what the Bengals offense can be. Right, you can't let Joe Burrow sit back there and have his pick of who to throw to, because you can only stay with these guys for so long, right? So yeah, Garrett and company are going to have to get home. You're going to have to see Mason Graham make some plays and run defense, eat up some blockers, let these guys run around. Hopefully we see. And another thing we didn't talk about Schlesinger is cover ability. I think he's able to cover a tight end, right? He's able to do that. I don't think you want to run him with a wide receiver, but he's able to at least cover tight ends. I think he's pretty good. They talked about, I think he had 5 interceptions last year. So pretty good in college. That seems to have, I don't know. I think that'll translate over to the NFL just fine, or transfer over. I don't know, man. I would love to say that the Browns pick up their 4th season opening win since 1999. I don't see it happening today. I think the Bengals take this one 31-23. I think it's close. It's going to be, it's a 1-score game, right? 31-23, you're losing by 8. Yeah. But I just think the Browns are not quite there. I just don't think they can quite. I just don't think they can do it, to be honest with you. I don't know. I think the Browns lose this one today, unfortunately, 31-23 to the Bengals. So that's where we are. I think the Browns start off 0-1, unfortunately, and then you've got the task of going into Baltimore next week, and we'll have the pregame show for that one next Sunday for you guys at noon again. Sure. Ryan and I will be here with you with all your. I don't know. It might be a therapy session after this game. We'll see what goes on.
We'll see.
It'll, at the very core of it, it'll at least be a pregame show. We'll be here for you next weekend at noon, because I think the Browns have about 15 1:00 games this year, and that's what happens when you're not projected to be very good, right? You don't get a ton of afternoon or primetime games. So here we are again. Here we are looking forward to the draft and looking forward to next year. And it's week 1. We're already looking forward to next year, Ryan. Is that good?
I mean, it's on par for being a Browns fan.
It's very on par. It's very on par. Well, listen, like I said, enjoy today's game on Fox. That'll be obviously just in a couple of minutes here. Kickoff. Yeah. Again, I want to say Kevin Kugler, Daryl Johnston on the call. Allison Williams will be on the sidelines. Thank you guys so much for watching.
Do you want to plug anything real quick?
Well, sure. I mean, like I said, I've got the sports show with no name. You can always check me out on YouTube. I'm on Facebook. Go find me there, like and follow. And we try to stay weekly. Sometimes things happen, logistics happen. Sure. But the sports show with no name. We've got Tuesday coming up. We'll have Illegal Formation with myself and TK Dandridge and Mr. Deacon. We'll have those on Tuesday or Wednesday for you. I think we're gonna record Tuesday, try to get them out on Wednesday. And Ryan, what do you got for us, man?
Check us out. My podcast at VTL_pod, Voice of the Lamb podcast. Me and my co-host Kevin Arnold. We talk Browns, Buckeyes, Cavs, Guardians every week, usually Thursdays, through LPV Productions as well, who's producing this. And then I just started a new podcast yesterday with my best friend David Cahoon. It's a fantasy football podcast. It's the Commissioner's Couch podcast, and you can check that out at thecommissionercouch.com. Sorry, I just made it yesterday.
It's tough. It's tough. It's hard to promote a new thing, right? You're not used to saying it.
But first episode is.
You guys did a great job. Yeah, you guys did a great job.
Thank you. Yeah, first episode is posted. It's on our YouTube. It's there on Twitter. Go check it out for us, and I'd be really appreciative.
I'm still terrified to try my luck at fantasy football, but you guys did a great job. I feel like I came away with a lot of new knowledge that I'm not a fantasy football guy. I struggle with that, so I don't even try. But thank you guys so much for watching. Like I said, this has been the first ever Inside Edge Network Cleveland Browns pregame show brought to you by LPV Productions. I'm sorry. Again, we're promoting new things. It's LPV Productions. For Ryan Mossor, I'm Chad Bryan. We'll see you next week. We'll see you next Sunday on maybe we'll call these things the therapy session. I don't know what we're going to call them, but we'll see you next week. We'll talk about that matchup with the Baltimore Ravens. I'm sure we'll talk a lot about Lamar Jackson and company and Mark Andrews and things like that because we're tired of talking about the Browns. We'll say go Browns. And again, thank you guys for watching. We appreciate you. Enjoy the game.